Don't skip. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Marcus Aurelius. In modern life, we often believe that we must constantly move, meet people, and participate in various social activities to be considered living life to the fullest or successful. But perhaps you've also felt the fatigue, the pressure, or those moments of failure that make everything around you seem too noisy, too overwhelming. You wonder, am I running after someone else's life instead of living to the rhythm of my own? Stoic philosophy points to a different path. It is not in the chaos, but in moments of stillness, in hours spent alone, that you truly encounter yourself. At home, away from external disturbances, you learn how to observe your mind, to train your reason, and to control your emotions. This is not about escaping. It's about consciously building your inner strength, preparing for steady steps when you return to the world. This video will show you why staying home is the best choice for building resilience, finding peace, and truly maturing in the spirit of Stoicism. Let's journey to the end to discover how to transform quiet time into inner strength. A place where you can stand firm in the face of pressure and find true meaning in life. 1. Stay home to separate yourself from the noise. The noise. You don't need to wander across the city, nor show up at every party, every bar, or every meetup, just to feel like you are living at home in your own space. You finally face yourself and can hear your inner voice amidst the world's sea of noise. This is not escapism, nor is it failure. It is a conscious choice, a powerful decision that most modern people have forgotten. Living in today's society, you are pulled by the voices of others, job pressures, feedback, and strange standards. Stepping outside means wearing a different mask. Even in your car, you're bombarded by social media news, opinions, and ideals. Arriving at work, you face more directions, judgments, and comparisons. Gradually, you lose sight of what you truly think or want. Everything becomes a habitual reaction, running with the crowd, struggling not to be left behind. I used to be like that. Long days waking up with the feeling I was late for something important I couldn't quite name. My calendar is packed, my phone buzzing endlessly. On weekends, I would wander with friends just to kill time, but I felt empty and alone. I lived by others' expectations until one day I realized I didn't recognize myself anymore. When you stay home, you escape the noise. It's not just about closing doors, locking up, or switching off your phone, but about letting go of all demands, voices, and attention from others. There is no acting, no race to run, no need to prove anything. Sit quietly, listen to your heartbeat, feel your breath, and observe each thought. Marcus Aurelius called this retreat into yourself. There is no place more peaceful than the soul within you. Secondly, you begin to hear your own voice. At first, the silence may feel unsettling or empty, but that is your opportunity to distinguish which thoughts are truly yours and which are the product of social pressure. Epictetus once taught, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." At home, you can see all your worries, stresses, and expectations and begin to filter what is truly yours. What must you let go of? Thirdly, you make better decisions. How many times have you acted out of fear of judgment or stayed in relationships just to avoid being left out? At home, you have space to ask yourself, is this really necessary? If not, you have the right to say no. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." At home, you learn how to protect your energy, devote attention to what truly matters, family, passion, self-development. Fourthly, you build a haven. A house isn't just for eating and sleeping. If used right, it becomes a dojo, a place for inner training. Every day you observe your emotions, recognize negative thoughts, practice silence when a reaction isn't needed, and focus on important tasks. You set healthy boundaries, work doesn't invade, social media doesn't control, and meaningless conversations don't drain your energy. This is how you build self-mastery. No one else can do this for you. Fifth, you become stronger in solitude. Many people fear the feeling of being left out when nobody calls, messages, or needs them. But by daring to be alone, you develop real strength. You learn to accept every emotion, not run away or pretend. You train your capacity to endure and to think independently. You realize being alone isn't a weakness. Only those who fear facing themselves are weak. I used to avoid silence, afraid of facing myself, but when I stopped, chose to stay home. I discovered this is where healing happens, energy is restored, and personal growth takes place without having to, when judged instead of reacting, observe the feeling and let it pass. That is how you lay a solid foundation for emotional independence. When you build strong inner strength, you are not afraid to lose someone, not afraid of rejection, and not shaken when the world changes. You know true value lies in how you treat yourself. When you're solid, you become your own support, and from there, a better friend, colleague, father, husband for others. That emotional freedom is the greatest reward you can give yourself. When you can stand firmly on your own 2 feet, nothing out there can shake you. And that is the true freedom that only comes when you let go of what isn't yours, master your emotions, and live joyfully, peacefully, and powerfully, even if you are alone in this vast world. Music. 5. Reserve your energy for what truly matters. A home is not just a shelter from the rain and sun, nor is it merely a place for hurried sleep. For those who truly want to grow, who seek to build lasting value, the home becomes a dojo, the deepest training ground for intellect and skill. Only when you dare to be still, to distance yourself from outside distractions, do you really get the chance to listen, reflect, practice, and develop yourself in ways most people out there will never experience. Have you ever realized that your whole day is just a series of distraction waves? The phone vibrates, messages flood in, colleagues invite you out, friends call you to hang out, and social media constantly demands your attention. At first you think it's just light entertainment, then tell yourself, I'll study later. But day after day, month after month, the skills you want to upgrade, the knowledge you want to deepen, all remain stuck in place. You look back and wonder why you're not moving forward while others seem to leap ahead. It's not because you're inferior, but because you haven't been brave enough to separate yourself from distractions. Everyone wants to learn more, be better, but very few are patient enough to stay home long enough to focus on what truly matters. They fear loneliness, fear missing out, fear being labeled as boring. So they keep chasing crowds, news, and social engagements. The result? Scattered minds, wasted time, undeveloped skills, and unsharpened intellect. Staying home is when you redraw your boundaries. No one controls your time. No one makes you study, practice, write, or perfect every little detail. Everything is your choice. Personal development at home is the key difference between those who just want and those who dare to do. All great thinkers understood this. Philosopher Plato said, "Thinking the talking of the soul with itself, sitting quietly at home uninterrupted, you finally hear your soul's conversation." That's the foundation for all personal progress from knowledge, skills, to real-world actions. I've met many friends and colleagues who all want to speed up, learn new things, and change themselves. Yet they always complain there's no time or I can't focus. The truth is, if you don't dare to stay home, if you can't say no to distractions, you can't go deep. Developing a skill is like sharpening a blade. It requires repetition, patience, and the courage to embrace boredom. Sitting down to study for an hour each evening, practicing a small move hundreds of times, and reading one chapter thoroughly instead of skimming. All require the strength to resist outside lures. I once fell into this trap. There was a phase when I thought I was making progress by attending events, listening to podcasts, watching motivational videos, and connecting with all sorts of people. But in the end, I only had surface-level knowledge, nothing in depth. I accumulated social knowledge, but it came at the expense of personal depth. The more socializing, the more news, the farther I strayed from my foundation, my ability to focus and persist toward one goal long enough. One day, I decided to stop to stay home. I turned off notifications, limited unnecessary outings, and closed every unrelated tab. I chose a philosophy book, read it slowly, took notes, asked myself why the author wrote as they did, and connected it to real life. On the first day, I was restless, wanting to reach for my phone, my eyes drifting elsewhere. But after a week, I realized I was truly absorbing knowledge, starting to think deeply, generating new ideas I'd never had before. The feeling of mastering your time, of being able to focus, of knowing for certain that you're moving forward day by day, even if just a small step, is incredibly empowering. At home, no one judges, no one pressures. You move at your own pace. That's the only way to grow sustainably and create real value. Stoicism teaches that growth is not about chasing the new, but about digging deep into what you've chosen. You don't need to know everything, just be truly good at what you choose. Deep work is the foundation of all great achievements.